How you doing? This is Todd. It's a Friday afternoon, and I'm glad you've joined me for this weekly get-together for VO Marketing Pro. We try not to take too much of your time. We try to give an update with regard to the members of VO Marketing Pro. And by the way, we have 25 members now as part of this group. So we're so glad that you're a part of our group. We welcomed a new member this week, so congratulations to you. We'll mention that in our update. We also try to provide an update for me with regard to my week, since so much of my income comes from direct email marketing. And since I've been doing this for over a decade, it's something that I try to provide in a transparent way, provide you with my numbers, especially for direct email marketing. So this Friday afternoon get-together is certainly for updates, but usually we spend a few minutes talking about a topic, and typically we talk about marketing, and specifically direct email marketing. You know, we've used the illustration of fishing when it comes to marketing. Fishing is quite interesting. I have to admit that I'm not a big-time fisherman. My son, Hudson, loves to fish and, is outfitted completely with all sorts of poles and bait and different things like that. My wife did a lot of fishing growing up. She lived on a lake when she was a young child, and so she and her dad and grandfather used to do a lot of fishing. So any information I get from fishing is, kind of secondhand or things that I've picked up from them. But nevertheless, fishing is a very interesting thing. It can be very tedious and tiring, sometimes even exasperating. I mean, for those of us that are kind of, I don't know what we would call fair weather fishermen, not getting any bites or nibbles or catching fish just isn't that much fun. My son Hudson, he likes to fish no matter what. But nevertheless, when you don't get any bites or catch any fish, you wonder, I think, at least when I talk with them and when I've gone fishing the limited times I have, you start to say to yourself, at least in your mind, you talk to yourself and you say, I've tried and tried and tried all sorts of, different bait and lures and all sorts of different poles and different places. No fish. And you can get kind of, exasperated. And you think, will I ever catch a fish again? But it can also be exhilarating. Even getting nibbles, and then a bite, and then reeling that fish in. Wow, that can be really, really exciting. Especially for those of us that don't fish a whole lot. Getting that fish on the hook and reeling it in, even if it's a small one, can be kind of fun. But sometimes my family and I will watch fishing shows, and sometimes we will watch these shows where they'll take these big boats out and they'll be looking for huge, ocean creatures, huge fish out there. And sometimes, they'll get that fish on the hook and they will struggle for, maybe 45 minutes, an hour, maybe over an hour just to get that fish in. But wow, the excitement of getting that fish on board and taking a look at it. Sometimes it takes two people to kind of hold up the fish. But how exciting that can be when you nab a big one. Of course, as I said, we use fishing as an illustration of marketing here at VO Marketing Pro. Using the right pole with the right bait, getting multiple poles in the water, and then hanging in there and just doing the fishing is so very important. You have to fish. And you have to fish. You can't be a fair weather fisherman like me. You've got to go out there and you got to do the work. And that's why it's a good illustration of marketing. Fishing and marketing, there's a lot of similarities. Sometimes in marketing, you don't even get a nibble. And I'm sure, you have probably experienced that either in your own personal marketing or some weeks when VO Marketing Pro is marketing for you. Not even a nibble. And that can be a little bit discouraging, and I understand that. Other times you get nibbles, but you don't catch a fish. You don't get a client. Sometimes you catch a fish, but it's just a tiny one. And while it's exciting and it's great to catch a fish, always great to catch a fish, or in this case, to get a client, sometimes they don't pay very well, or maybe they're a tad bit difficult to work with. But it's still nice to have a fish. Other times you catch what's called a keeper. It's one that was really worth the fight. And finally, then there are other times when you catch a huge fish. I mean a giant one. And I remember back, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I was marketing around different places, and I happened to market to an e-learning company in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And they provided me with some work. Maybe every month or so they would provide me with some sort of module or two, and they paid decently. But then all of a sudden, maybe 3 years in of serving them and their clients faithfully, they contacted me and said, hey, we've got an audition for you for a huge project. Are you up for it? I didn't know what it was, so I said, sure. Well, through vetting and having multiple people doing auditions and going through that process, they chose me. And what it was doing all of the e-learning and training for the cruise line, for a specific cruise line. I won't mention what that cruise line is right now, but what it ended up being was almost $100,000 worth of work spread over 3 years. That was just an amazing catch. My point in bringing that up is just keep fishing. Just keep being faithful fishing. You might not reel in a 3-year, $100,000 job ever. That's a once in a career for me so far. Nevertheless, you just faithfully fish. Sometimes you'll get nibbles. Sometimes you'll get a fish. It'll be a small one. Other times you get a keeper. But maybe, just maybe, you'll get a big one. And I'm just trying to encourage you with that little story, because that was encouraging to me, trust me, when I was able to make $100,000 and have that continuing work week after week, month after month for a 3-year period. That was very sweet. So just hang in there and keep fishing/marketing. Okay, enough storytelling. Now, an update for me. I had one new client, one new job, and my total this week, and by the way, as I said, I've been a little bit slow the first month and a half, which is typical for me, but this is the first time for a week I've been over $6,000 again. And if you remember my numbers last year, especially July, August, September, October, I was in that and over regularly. This week, over $6,000. Platforms, $2,505.77. Direct email clients, $3,974.15 for a total of $6,479.92. $64.79.92 for my week. Now, for your week, we had one new client come on board to VO Marketing Pro, and so we want to welcome Mike to our VO Marketing Pro family. Glad to have you here. Let Joe and I know how we can help you and serve you. We had 14 responses, warm replies for all of you, and one audition and one job. So again, keep fishing. It'll pay off. You got to persevere. You got to be persistent, and you got to have patience, and it'll pay off. So have a great weekend, and we will talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.